Hi everyone. Now let's discuss topic 9 of Unit 5. Data Protection Laws, GDPR and Indian Data Protection Bill. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, is a European Union law that governs how organizations collect, use, and protect personal data of individuals. The Indian Data Protection Bill, recently updated as the Digital Personal Data Protection Act, 2023, provides similar protections for Indian citizens' personal data, ensuring privacy, accountability, and responsible data usage. In simple words, GDPR is Europe's strong data privacy law. Indian Data Protection Bill is India's step to protect people's digital personal information. 2 mark questions. Define GDPR. What is the purpose of the Indian Data Protection Bill? Mention 1 right of individuals under GDPR. Name 1 sensitive personal data type under Indian Data Protection Bill. Give 1 penalty for non-compliance under GDPR. 5 10-mark questions. Explain the key principles of GDPR with examples. Describe the rights of individuals under data protection laws. Discuss the Indian Data Protection Bill and its significance. Compare GDPR and Indian Data Protection Bill in terms of scope and enforcement. Illustrate best practices for organizations to ensure data protection compliance. Introduction. Data protection laws are designed to regulate the collection, storage, processing, and sharing of personal and sensitive data, ensuring the privacy and security of individuals. With the rapid expansion of digital services, protecting data privacy and security has become a critical concern for both organizations and governments. Legal frameworks such as the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, and the Indian Data Protection Bill provide guidelines for safeguarding personal information. These laws clearly define the rights of individuals, the obligations of data controllers, and the penalties for noncompliance. For example, global companies like Google and Facebook must comply with GDPR provisions when handling data of EU citizens, ensuring that personal information is collected, processed, and stored responsibly and legally. General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. Overview. The General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, is a comprehensive data protection law that applies to all organizations processing the personal data of EU residents, regardless of the organization's physical location. Personal data includes any information that can identify an individual, such as name, email, IP address, or financial information. GDPR is based on several key principles that guide how data should be handled. The principle of lawfulness, fairness, and transparency ensures that data is processed legally and transparently. Purpose limitation requires that data be collected only for specified, legitimate purposes, while data minimization limits the collection to only what is necessary. Accuracy mandates that data must be correct and regularly updated, and storage limitation ensures data is kept only as long as necessary. Integrity and confidentiality require that personal data is protected against unauthorized access or breaches, and accountability obligates organizations to demonstrate compliance with GDPR provisions. Under GDPR, individuals are granted several rights to protect their personal data. These include the right to access their data, rectify inaccuracies, erase data, right to be forgotten, restrict processing, exercise data portability, and object to processing for specific purposes. Additionally, individuals have the right to be informed if their personal data is compromised in a breach. Organizations that fail to comply with GDPR can face heavy penalties, including fines of up to 20 million euros or 4% of global turnover, whichever is higher. For example, GDPR compliance requires companies to obtain explicit consent from users before collecting or processing their personal information, ensuring transparency and control for individuals over their data. Indian Data Protection Bill. Overview. The Indian Data Protection Bill aims to protect the personal data of individuals in India and regulate its processing by both government and private entities. A key feature of the bill is the establishment of a Data Protection Authority, DPA, which serves as the regulatory body for enforcement and oversight. Entities that collect or process personal data known as data fiduciaries, are required to follow lawful, fair, and transparent practices. The bill also grants rights to data principals, including access, correction, deletion of their data, and grievance redressal mechanisms. Special categories of information, such as financial data, health records, sexual orientation, and biometric data, are considered sensitive personal data and are subject to higher protection standards. Cross-border data transfer is permitted only through secure and compliant mechanisms. Noncompliance can result in heavy fines and, in some cases, imprisonment, depending on the severity of the violation. For example, Indian tech companies must secure customer financial and health data and report any breaches promptly to the DPA to remain compliant. Importance of data protection laws. Data protection laws are essential for safeguarding individual privacy and personal information in the digital age. They help reduce cybercrime, identity theft, and data breaches, while ensuring that digital services and e-commerce platforms operate with trust and reliability. These laws also mandate compliance and accountability for organizations that collect, process, or store personal data. For example, companies that adopt GDPR standards or follow the Indian Data Protection Bill not only protect their users' information, but also enhance customer trust and avoid heavy legal penalties for violations. Best practices for data protection. To comply with data protection laws, organizations should implement data encryption and secure storage methods to safeguard sensitive information. Conducting regular privacy audits and compliance checks ensures that policies are being followed effectively. It is also critical to obtain explicit consent from individuals before collecting or processing their data, and to adhere to data minimization and purpose limitation principles by collecting only necessary information. Establishing grievance redressal mechanisms allows individuals to report concerns or breaches, thereby promoting transparency, accountability, and trust in digital operations. Real-world examples of data protection laws. Real-world cases demonstrate the importance of adhering to data protection laws. Under GDPR, Facebook was fined €1.2 billion by EU regulators for privacy violations, highlighting the strict enforcement of personal data protection in Europe. In India, health tech startups are required to secure sensitive patient data and report any breaches to authorities as mandated by the Indian Data Protection Bill. Globally, companies like Google and Amazon comply with GDPR principles for EU users, while following Indian guidelines for data handling within India. These examples show how organizations must adopt robust data protection measures to maintain legal compliance, protect user privacy, and build trust in digital services. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.